So with constant ideas just hitting you all the time, how do you like navigate through these and what do you prioritize and how do you know this is the one that I want to work on while the rest of them are something that I'm just going to like put them onto the idea bank and come back later? So what's your process like when it comes to this?
It's a very messy process. Wish was more refined than it is. But I try to think of like what's giving me energy, right? Number one. And number two is I try to think of like based on the season of my career, like in this season of my career, what is my pursuit? Like there are
Right.
parts. So when I first started in no code, so at that season, 2018, I had a resume filled with like corporate logos. But I had no on Twitter. And I was just
Right.
like any other, professional, like there's, millions of them like that. Right. So, but my curiosity and my pursuit was, I want to build a project. I want to build a side project. I have some time, I was single at the time, or actually I was, dating someone, but like I had like some free time in the evenings or whatever. So I wanted to be a builder, maker. That was the pursuit. But then the prioritization came from the fact that I needed something to help me accelerate, like some kind of a fuel that would help me there. At the time, that was supposed to be my Twitter followers, because I had like 414. I'm like, I need to grow to 1,000. So I focused and prioritized on Twitter. I built a lot of so I created a lot of tweets. I was very prolific at the time. So that season, I think I went from there to like, I think 3,000, 4,000 followers. And so it was all about building an audience, enough audience so that when I have an interesting idea that I have some feedback loop, right?
Right. Right. Used to very
Later,
real time.
right, real time. And later, after the 3,000, 4,000 mark, I realized that I got the green card and I was like, okay, I'm no longer in H-1B shackles. So I can work for any company, which means I can work for a startup. So the prioritization at the time was like, I want to break into startups, but I want to break into like some really powerful rocket ships that I would be proud of. Like, I was early on. I was early into. So the prioritization at the time was about, how do I go talk to these people who already made it to startups? What can I learn from them? What part of my story do I need to adapt and be more of a proof of work? Like, what kind of proof of work do I need to collect to get to that startup thing? Which at the time I got to OnDeck. And so once I was on OnDeck, then I was like, I felt like it was a dream. I felt like I was now living the dream. I was happy. But then the next season's prioritization was, I wanted to build a content empire,
Right.
but basically a diversified content portfolio. Like, oh, I just have Twitter. What if I have a podcast? Go into podcast. So, every season now, 2023, the pursuit that I'm on is I want to build a portfolio of bootstrap businesses. I'm hoping one of them will take off and will set me up for success and give me a great exit. I don't have to work for the rest of my life after that, right? But I'm not so attached to that outcome. I'm more attached to the process.
The purpose.
And this is very clear to me that this is the top priority for this season, which is to create seeds and put seeds into a portfolio approach. At the same time, do what I love doing, which is my content portfolio, which is my podcast, which I'm going to continue to do, my Twitter, and now, of course, the newsletter. So these three, at some point, I will do LinkedIn, TikTok, whatever. See, there's always more to do. So after a certain level of success, you have an abundance of doors to knock on, abundance of opportunities to do. So then it really becomes like, what gives you energy for this season? Do that. Don't judge yourself. Don't compare yourself with anybody else. Have fun. And we'll have another season.